Vince McMahon is reportedly not sold on Shayna Bayzler. Well, I guess I didn't get that image yet. She didn't win the Royal Rumble, dominated the Elimination Chamber, leading to a feud with Becky Lynch that she lost at WrestleMania, to be in Money in the Bank 1 month after that, to not win the briefcase. WWE was scheduling Hulk Hogan to return at WrestleMania 36 and win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. This is what I mean about building new stars. We just don't want to do it. Let's have Hulk Hogan come back, who can barely even get out of bed in the morning, and have him win a match he has no business being in. And WWE might cancel house shows forever. Well, that's a damn shame. Vince McMahon said it is a creative environment, the way I look at it. It should be, but it's not. It's not a creative environment, okay? Let's talk about these 3 topics, shall we? Subscribe to the channel, like, and push it out to everybody you know. 3 topics to talk about today. Now, I want to apologize first for this glare here. I know it's a little bit of annoying, but it is what it is, at least for this video. 3 topics, and as you saw by the intro, most of them don't make sense. The first one to talk about here, and we're going to talk about Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is not sold on Shayna Bayzler. Now, judging by the intro, you would probably understand that we kind of knew this already. And if we didn't know it, well, put the puzzle pieces together, folks. She's in the Royal Rumble, a chance for her to win and punch her ticket to WrestleMania. She doesn't win the Royal Rumble. Okay, is what it is. She's in the Elimination Chamber, and it doesn't, that Elimination Chamber alone by itself does not count, because that was not an Elimination Chamber. You sacrificed an annual event, an annual match that she dominated in and did nothing with afterwards. So you had her dominate the Elimination Chamber, literally annihilate the whole entire competition. You then had her building towards Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, which we all knew was coming, and was done pretty well. We were actually interested in the match, and it was actually one of the matches I was more excited for on WrestleMania, with or without a crowd. She goes to WrestleMania. They put on a match that's really not that great, but besides all that, 2 problems. First one, she didn't win. So you just pretty much took the Elimination Chamber, threw it to the side and said it doesn't matter. She didn't win the match when she definitely needed that win, and she was the person to take the women's title off of Becky Lynch. And then she loses in a very loser-like fashion. So, okay, you screwed up. Because if Vince McMahon wasn't sold on Shayna Bayzler, or he wasn't willing to take the chance, he wouldn't have sacrificed an entire match. The Women's Elimination Chamber was pretty much non-existent. It was not even like a hard-fought match. It was literally Shayna Bayzler annihilating the entire competition. So you built her up to be this giant force just to have her lose at WrestleMania. To somebody that's had the title for a year, and all the respect to Becky Lynch, doesn't need it any longer. All right. That's a couple of screw-ups, right? You expect that. So next we have the Money in the Bank coming up. Well, if there's any person that needs to win this briefcase, it's Shayna Bayzler, right? Now, you can understand it a little bit, because I don't know if they knew prior to the match, or they had to have known prior to the match, that the winner of the Money in the Bank was actually going to be the women's champion. We didn't know that. They had the Money in the Bank ladder match, and for all the fun and shits and giggles that it was, the match itself was not a ladder match, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Neither ladder match was good. It was just antics. Yes, the antics were funny, but it was not a ladder match. And you had, and I didn't mind Asuka winning. I really didn't mind Asuka winning. But the fact that Shayna Bayzler had another opportunity to grab the brass ring and did not get it. So if there's anything we know at this point, Vince McMahon not being sold on Shayna Bayzler has shown you that on television, because they had the chance to pull the trigger on this woman multiple times and they failed to do so. Vince McMahon is not sold on Shayna Bayzler. However, Paul Heyman is big on Shayna Bayzler. Paul Heyman has a good eye for talent. Paul Heyman has a good eye for talent that doesn't get the recognition it deserves. CM Punk was massively underrated in WWE before he had his final stint. Paul Heyman saw CM Punk. Paul Heyman sees Shayna Bayzler. Now again, we watch it on television. We've been watching for years. Paul Heyman knows what talent is supposed to look like. Vince was not sold on her as a top heel. Again, it goes to show you that Vince McMahon does not watch NXT, because Shayna Bayzler was one of the best heels in NXT, and maybe that's just because NXT knows how to build, create talent, and develop storylines. He's not sold on her as a top heel. He has been disappointed with her matches. She hasn't had any matches on the main roster where she's really had a chance to shine. What match has Shayna Bayzler had that has made you say, oh my God, I have to honk the horn? Nothing. Nothing. I can't say she's been absolutely awful and been annihilated by the NXT curse, but she hasn't done anything wow. You know, for as much hate as I gave Charlotte Flair, she is phenomenal at what she does, and she has had very, very, very good moments in the ring. But at the same time, I'm not saying she's not working for it, because she is, but it's just, it's favoritism. You know what I mean? It's not. You know, I mean, I appreciate them giving Shayna Bayzler the opportunity, but it's what made sense. It's what made sense from a fan standpoint, and it's what made sense to everybody else. He didn't win the Rumble, and I wrote this here, dominated the Chamber, lost to Mania, and didn't win the Women's Money in the Bank. That is the story of Shayna Bayzler. Vince McMahon is not sold on Shayna Bayzler. If there's anything I can tell you, we all knew this already, folks. We all knew this already, and it's sad. It's sad, because she's very talented, she's very good as a character, and she's very good at what she does. But unfortunately, if WWE continues the trend that it does, the same women will be given favoritism. And I don't mean to put Alexa Bliss into hot water, because she's already been a major headline this weekend. But if you want me to be honest with you, I will not say that she's, you know, all look, no substance, because I think that's wrong. But I will tell you that she is not very good in the ring. She hasn't come off that way. She's great at her character. She's great on the mic. But she's not... I don't envision... And I'm not saying she can't ever be there, but I don't, when I think of a women's champion and I think of the complete package, I don't think of Alexa Bliss. I do not think of Alexa Bliss. I think of Becky. I think of Sasha. I know a lot of people say I give favoritism to Sasha. It is what it is. It is what it is. Deal with it. You know, maybe Shayna's not, you know, I don't know what they're not seeing in Shayna. I think of, you know, and I'm not really the complete fan of her, but even Charlotte. Charlotte is much more complete than Alexa Bliss is. Naomi was good. Maybe she's not quite on that elite level. You know, Natalya doesn't really need any type of women's championship at this point in her career, but she's obviously the women's locker room leader. You know, and you got Io Shirai in NXT. You have all these, Bianca Belair, great at what she does. You have all these women that are very talented, and I'm not saying Alexa Bliss isn't. It just does not rub off that way on television, for whatever reason. For whatever reason. That's the first topic. Gonna leave it there. It's a shame. WWE doesn't really know how to book their talent, and this is something we've known for a long time. Oh, man. This next one is something. This next one really is something. Vince McMahon had plans for Hulk Hogan to come back at WrestleMania 36. I'm gonna go through the scenario, and then I'm gonna tell you where the problem is. Vince McMahon had plans for Hulk Hogan to come back at WrestleMania 36. Okay, not bad. Vince McMahon had plans for Hulk Hogan to be in a match. Don't really see that being important. But even at this point, okay. Vince McMahon had plans for Hulk Hogan to be in the Memorial Battle Royal. You know what? If the guy can go, why not? Why not? Vince McMahon had plans for Hulk Hogan to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That's where the problem is. You want to have him there? Great. Always good to see Hulk Hogan. You want to have him in a match? Not sure it's the best idea. The Battle Royal? Okay, I understand it. Winning the Battle Royal is the problem. Winning the Battle Royal is the problem. Hulk Hogan, it was advised that he was going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and not take bumps. So not only that, we were going to have Hulk Hogan sit and collect dust in the corner of a ring while a bunch of these young, hungry guys fight their ass off to shine in WWE. But we're going to have Hulk Hogan sit in the corner, probably get a paycheck that is somewhere around $3 to $5 million to sit, watch young talent bust their ass, to sneak and win a match that he has no business being in the first place. Okay? I am 22 years old. I have no experience in the pro wrestling business, and I literally just told you exactly what the problem is, and I have no experience. So why are people that have been doing this for 30 plus years putting things together that don't make sense? The plan fell through because financial terms were not agreed to. Of course they weren't. Hulk Hogan wasn't coming back for 500 grand. No, Hulk Hogan was coming back for $3 to $5 million. The same $3 to $5 million that could have been used on some of this young talent that you had to release. It is what it is. Well, let's say this first. And I'm not saying anything bad about Hulk Hogan in a way, because Hulk Hogan is an icon and he's one of the greatest ever. There is no WrestleMania without Hulk Hogan. But it's 2020, not 1987. Okay? That's the problem. I don't mind seeing Hulk Hogan. I don't mind Hulk Hogan on my TV. I don't. I mind Hulk Hogan taking opportunity away from somebody. And Hulk Hogan's going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he's going to fly out to wherever island he wants to go, and we won't see him again for another 3 years. Meanwhile, Ricochet, who took a nasty bump in the Battle Royal, is going to go to bed sore, wake up the next morning, and head straight to the arena. Again, for his 300th day in a row. It's not even Ricochet. I don't care who you put in that spot. But it doesn't need to be Hulk Hogan. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's 2020. NWO in the Hall of Fame, great. Hope they have an awesome ceremony. I want to see Hulk Hogan. I don't want to see him win a match he has no business being in. That's my problem. WWE fails to build new talent. NXT builds, Triple H builds this iconic brand, builds up these phenomenal stars who are still phenomenal on the main roster that just doesn't show. They don't lose their talent. Talent that is displayed on NXT is not lost just because you went to a higher platform. You still have that talent. But they are wasted away. If you're not one of Vince McMahon's favorites, you will suffer a long tenure. Yeah, you'll get nice money, but are you really happy with what you do? Why did guys like Cody Rhodes leave? Why did guys like Dean Ambrose leave? Had nothing to do with talent. They were both some of the most talented guys in the industry of professional wrestling. They left because they were unhappy and they knew what they were capable of. That's my rant on that. That one got me tight. When I read that article the other day, I got tight. That one really, really grinded my toes. The coronavirus. House shows are one of WWE's platforms to to have shows in certain places with talent and matches that are just basic matches, and it's another revenue income for WWE. The thing is that house shows, a lot of people enjoy more. I've been to the Spectrum, I've been to WrestleMania, I've been to SummerSlam, I've been to Raw, I've been to SmackDown, I've been to NXT, and I've been to a house show. A house show nowadays is probably better than Raw and SmackDown because, one, the restrictions are not there. These wrestlers, these guys do not have the restrictions that they have on the, everything on the main roster. It has to be precise. It has to be timed. Everything has to go exactly as planned. And house shows are just matches where people can go, have a good time, and just enjoy yourself. Sometimes you get a title change every now and then. It is what it is. And the coronavirus stopped house shows, but now they're saying that house shows may not even actually return when the coronavirus is cleared. Now, it kind of sucks, but it's good. There's pros and cons to it. The pros are the wrestlers don't have to work as much. Some of the things, they don't have to do as many live events, because you got to keep in mind, I used to think when I first started watching wrestling that it was just Raw and SmackDown. I used to think it was just Raw and SmackDown that were taking place. I didn't realize there was a live event Thursday night, and then Saturday there was one in Buffalo, and Sunday there was one in Chicago. I didn't know all that. So when they say it's a constant grind, they're not just wrestling for 20 minutes and they go home and chill. First off, we know they're on the road 300 plus days a year. But a house show is a cheap ticket to go enjoy what will probably be a decent show. house shows are not meant to be taken too seriously. A lot of times we see matches that we've seen, and a lot of times on house shows they have matches on a smaller platform. You know, you might see John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at a house show, but you might see it at, you know, then they do it on a Thursday house show, then they do it on a Friday. A lot of the house shows that happen are very similar matchups. You get some 6-man tags, maybe you get a title match, you get to see the women. They try to put names that are popular, and it is what it is. Talent say that they don't want house shows because for some reason house shows actually affect their pay, because again, that's more money that WWE has to put into the show. They also say, or Vince says, more content-oriented events. Well, I sure hope so, Vince McMahon. I sure hope so. If this is your excuse for why your weekly television sucks, then you know what? Do it. It is what it is. I haven't been to a house show in years. There's been a couple. Sometimes they have the Heat Wave tour that comes to New York in the middle of the summer. You know, I thought about going sometimes, you know, maybe going with a friend. You know, so it's not a bad experience. I did the VIP experience once with my dad. That's something you got to do. If you save your money, it's $600 a ticket before you have a seizure. And you get to meet 2 random wrestlers, and it's a unique experience. That's definitely something I will always remember. That was a fun experience. I even caught John Cena's wristband, so how about that? It's definitely something that you need to do. As far as a house show, I don't know if they're coming back, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. Again, WWE's budgeting right now because, again, it's hit or miss. At the same time, you know, having the house shows gives them another source of revenue. But, you know, Vince, I feel like when this clears, he's going to be very careful about what happens. But, you know, he says more content-oriented events. He said it is a creative environment the way I look at it. It should be, but it's not. It's not. There's nothing creative about Raw and SmackDown. And occasionally we'll get something creative on a pay-per-view. I watch the pay-per-views. I always watch the pay-per-views. I try to watch Raw and SmackDown. Another thing, though, congrats to Apollo Crews on winning the U.S. title last night. Well overdue. That's what I got for you today, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, subscribe, like, share this, everything. That Hulk Hogan rant was definitely something you're going to want to see. Thank you so much for watching, as always.